Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, lawmakers want toll operators to fix errors in the radio frequency identification or RFID system after it caused heavy traffic on major thoroughfares. Senators expressed their support for the resumption of limited physical classes in COVID-free areas. And a bill seeks to remove the expiry date on prepaid cell phone load to help online learners. Senator Gatchalian joins us live. Lawmakers from both houses of Congress have warned toll road operators to fix the implementation of the RFID system. Senator Gatchalian called for a review of the concession agreement between the government and toll operators, while Representatives Wes Gatchalian and Alfred de los Santos called on the Transportation Department to defer its order on cashless transactions until the errors in the RFID system have been fully resolved. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Gatchalian. Senator, good to have you back. Welcome to the source, sir.
Thank you, Pinky. Thank you for inviting me to your show. Thank you.
So much to talk about. Let's start with this RFID. You're calling for a review of the cost concession agreement. Of course, this is between government and the toll operators due to the many problems brought about by the RFID. Are you going to file a resolution on this, and when can the review actually begin?
I think, Pinky, the first question to ask is, where is TRB? Because this should not have happened if TRB was on the ball, monitoring, regulating, and making sure that the performance of the concessionaires, the operators, are up to par. This is a long drawn problem already here in the north, Pinky. We use the toll road on a regular, I use the toll road on a regular basis. And I've experienced on and off RFID readers when I use the North Expressway. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And most often than not, if it doesn't work, you have to drive back and switch to another lane. And this is the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is the RFID readers does not work 100% of the time. And if it doesn't work, a lot of cars should back up, move to another lane. And just imagine if trucks do that and back up and move to another lane. That's why we are seeing all these pictures of monstrous traffic in the north. It's because of the faulty and non-functioning RFID readers. Now, again, this should not have happened all along because we have a regulator that monitors all of this. And the basic premise here, Pinky, is we gave the operator the chance, the privilege to operate this because thinking that they will do a better job and they will give the Filipino consumers the best service possible. And the regulator will monitor it and make sure that they're performing up to par. But obviously, they're not, no? And we're still experiencing a lot of this monstrous traffic as we speak. And this is the question here really is, where's the regulator? How come the regulator is not doing its job in terms of cracking the whip and making sure that the operators are performing up to what is written in the concession agreement? Because in the concession agreement, it states there that in exchange for the privilege of operating the toll roads, you have to deliver the best service possible to our consumers.
Okay, so you're laying the blame on two institutions or agencies. That's the toll operator and the TRB. Is that correct, sir?
Correct. We're holding them into account. We're making sure that accountability is exerted here, Pinky, because we have mechanisms to prevent this from happening. That's why we have the TRB. And that's why the TRB is there to make sure that all of these things will not happen and the consumers will get the best possible service. But since this is happening and we can see it from the pictures, we have no choice but legislators to step in and conduct inquiries, which is not actually our job, no? Because our job is to make laws and to conduct oversight. But since the regulator is not functioning, we have no choice but to address the concerns and the complaints of our consumers. Then second, it's a technical
When
problem.
do you
The RFID technology is not working, and this is has been going on for a very very long time. Again, we call on the operators to repair and to put in a system wherein it will work 100% of the time, and the RFI readers will be perfect all the time, or else we can see the traffic building up every day as these RFID readers is not functioning.
Okay, I heard the interview of your brother, Mayor Gatchalian, on CNN Philippines yesterday. A number of things he said, Senator. Sabi niya exactly what you said. Malaking problema po yung pag hindi gumana yung RFID doon, especially sabi niya sa NLEX, magbaback up yung kotse. I think he called it parang nagkakaroon ng chacha. Back up ka, kaliwa ka, o kakanan ka. Number two, the mayor also said this. He said, yung RFID ng NLEX bulok. Wala daw problema sa SLEX. So now he's saying, he's warning actually that the business permit of NLEX will be suspended if NLEX doesn't give a satisfactory reply to his letter on why there are problems with the RFID. My question, sir, is do you support your brother's plan to possibly suspend the business permit of NLEX pending a satisfactory reply?
Pinky, I'm also a resident of Valenzuela, and there are about 700,000 residents of Valenzuela, and all of us experience this horrendous traffic and bad service. And to make matters worse, we're now mandated to pay in advance. Before you can pay at the toll road, but now you're mandated to pay in advance. So in exchange for paying in advance, we get this horrendous traffic and faulty RFID readers. This is not the proper way of operating the toll road, and this is not what is in the concession agreement. What we want is the best possible service in exchange for the toll fees that we are paying. So to answer your question directly, Pinky, what we are trying to address here, the mayor in Valenzuela and I myself in a national sense, is for the operators to be accountable to their performance. Because what's happening right now is, because they're a monopoly, they seem to be quite complacent in doing their job and making sure that all of these readers and technical requirements are being addressed. Like I said, this is not an overnight problem. We've been experiencing this problem for a very, very long time, but it was exaggerated because now the RFID is already mandated by government. You have to get this RFID prepaid system in order to use the highway. So just imagine everyone from the north are now required to get your prepaid card in order to use the highway. And this exaggerated the problem, and this also exacerbated the problem because the system cannot take in the volume of cars coming into the RFID system.
Okay.
So my point there is, if they've addressed this long in the past, then when this mandated system came in, we will not have a problem anymore. But it compounded and compounded, and now we've reached this point.
And now that we've reached this point, that warning again, let me ask you the same question I asked earlier. Do you support your brother's possible solution to this, to suspend the business permit of, the toll operator of NLEX?
It's within the powers of the local government unit to suspend any business permit if it's detrimental to the well-being of its constituents. The local government can do that. I was a mayor before, and all the businesses in any jurisdiction should get a business permit and should conduct its business in a proper and to the best possible service to its constituents. And the local government can revoke the business permit if it's not delivering its promises or if it's detrimental to the well-being and to the interest of its constituents. So it's well within the authority of the mayor, in this case, Mayor Rex. And because a lot of Valenzuelanos are already complaining to him because he's on the ground talking to him, I support that move because this is the only way to hold the operator and also the regulator into account.
All right. Again, we need to talk about this a little bit more. We just need to take a very short break. The source will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Senator Win Gatchalian. Senator, because there are so many problems, or there are problems being experienced by everyone due to this RFID system or cashless system, do you think that the full implementation of this system, do you think it should be delayed until possibly next year?
Well, Pinky, this is a technical question, and the obvious answer there is if your system is not ready to accept this volume of vehicles, then you should not use it. If your system is not technically capable to implement 100% online service, 100% faultless service, then don't use it. In this case, don't use the RFID system. Allow the consumers to use the highway because you cannot stop the highway because you're not ready. I mean, it's absurd to say that, oh, you cannot use the NLEX because our RFID system is not ready and we are still repairing it. That's absurd because all of us use that North Expressway. So in this case, if the operator is saying that they're repairing it, they're not ready, then allow the motorist to use the system until you, while you are repairing the RFID system, allow them to use the highway because this highway is for the public to use, and don't charge them because it's your fault that your RFID system is not ready and your RFID system is not 100% operational. No, don't fault the consumers for your mistakes because we've granted you the privilege to operate this highway, and you should make sure that your highway operates 100% all the time. There's no technical issues when you operate your highway.
Just to clarify that, Senator, you said, so wag kayong maningil. Are you asking for a toll holiday?
There's a big clamor to implement toll holiday, and I subscribe to that, Pinky. Again, it's very obvious that this is an RFID system issue, no? And this is a technical issue that should have been resolved a long time ago by the operator and validated by the regulator. But we're at this point already, and there's still a lot of technical issues being experienced by young consumers. So my view here is while you repair your system, while you upgrade your system and to make sure that these mistakes will not happen, these technical errors will not happen, let the motorists use the highway for free and implement a tollway holiday because it's not the fault of the motorists why they are experiencing this horrendous traffic. In fact, they've been compliant to the mandates of the government because they've been buying prepaid cards to use the highway.
Right. On a related topic, because you're talking about prepaid cards that we use for RFID, there is a bill that you passed, and I believe this was back in 2019, Senator, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Prepaid Load Forever Act. What is the status of this right now in the Senate? Because this is very timely, especially because we've come into this new normal where cell phones, internet connection is almost a must or is even really a must. So last year pa ata ho ito, gusto nyo, dapat wala ng expiration date itong mga prepaid cards.
Yes, Pinky. If you remember, we have a law that bans the expiry date of gift checks. And the basic concept here is you bought the gift checks, so you own the gift checks and you can spend it anytime you want. This is the same concept with prepaid load and data load for this matter, no? Because when you say prepaid, it's not confined anymore to call and text, but also to data. So the basic premise here is when you buy a prepaid load or a prepaid card, that's your prepaid card already, and you can use it. You should be able to use it anytime you want because the telcos cannot mandate you to use it within a time frame. You already prepay this. You already own the load in that card, and we cannot be forced to use that load because there is a time frame. And we've already
Mm.
looked at other jurisdictions about this, and there are other jurisdictions that allow prepaid loads to be with the subscriber as long as he wants. So this bill has been long overdue, and I filed this a few years ago. And this is
Yeah.
in line also with the increased use of data plans this time during the time of pandemic. As we all know, a lot of students and teachers have been buying data plans, and this is just proper that in that purchase
Mm-mm.
of data plan, they should be able to use it at their own pace and own time.
Yeah. So, Senator, my question is, when will this happen? Because you are right, it is a card that had been bought. Binili mo na ito eh. So the question is, bakit may expiration? Kailan ho kaya mangyayari yung matatanggal yung expiration for prepaid cards?
Yeah, we're gonna hear this soon. We're just finishing up with the budget, and I've requested the chairman of the Public Services Committee, Chairman Grace Poe, to prioritize this. And a lot of our consumers have been clamoring for this because a lot of our consumers have been losing a lot of money because they're forced to use their prepaid load in the things that they don't need. They're also forced to just comply with the rules of the telcos, and a lot of our consumers are very frustrated because they've been losing a lot of money because of the expiry date because of the expiry date that should have been there. That means our consumers should
Okay.
own the load, and they should be able to use it anytime they want.
I have a question that I will ask on Facebook Live because we need to take another short break. The source will be right back. And you're back on the source. Our guest, Senator Gatchalian. Face-to-face classes, of course, you are for, let's be clear about this, limited, localized face-to-face classes. Is this going to be a possibility, you think, next year? And if so, when?
Well, hopefully soon, Pinky, because it's really challenging. I'll put my other hat on, the chairman of the Basic Education Committee, and it's very challenging delivering quality education using the distance learning modality. Right now, the only choice that we have is what we call the distance learning modality, wherein the students are being given physical self-learning modules, and the students are expected to learn by themselves. And personally, I've been getting a lot of calls from mayors, from principals, from teachers, and getting a lot of feedback. And it's very difficult because not a lot of we have parents who did not graduate elementary or high school. We have parents who are not confident in tutoring their children, and this presents a problem for the child, because the child, especially from kindergarten to grade 3, this age level is what we call the age level that we need parent intervention. But if the parents themselves are not confident that they can teach their children, then this becomes a problem. So the concept here is to come up with a very localized, no, Pinky, very localized, very limited face-to-face classes. Meaning we can hold small workshops or small groups of students, probably around 10 students, and the teacher will go there and help them, tutor them, help them understand what they're supposed to learn. This is important because the child needs interaction, the learner needs interaction, and the learner needs a lot of interaction, especially on complicated subjects. And this is where the role of the teachers will come in.
Do you support, Senator, these learning hubs that were put up by the Office of the Vice President?
I'm not very sure, Pinky, on the mechanism of that learning hubs. No, I've read some portion of it, but I'm not really sure how it operates. What I support is the US version of what they call learning pods. And this is actually being done in the US, because in the US they've also studied that it's impossible just to completely cut off the teacher from the learner, because there are cases that the teacher should be able to explain the concepts to the learner. So what they did in the US, they launched what they call the learning pods, and this is actually equivalent of that workshop that I'm talking about, the Purok workshop that I'm talking about.
I
Wherein
see.
in the US they have 10 students, and the teacher will go there, and the students will practice social distancing, wearing face masks. It's very
Mm-mm.
limited in terms of number of days. The teachers will only go there once a week, probably maximum of 2 hours a day, so that the concept here is the student should have some engagement with the teacher, and the teacher will have some time to explain
Okay.
the subject matter to the student. So that model is being practiced in a lot of countries already.
Senator, one last question. I have 1 minute left. Do you support or do you agree that red tagging should be criminalized?
Mm. Well, as far as I have seen on TV and read in the internet, um, it's important when you tag anyone, no? And if you label anyone and if you brand anyone, you have to have concrete evidence. No? You have to have strong evidence to label and to tag anyone, for that matter, no, for anything. No? And you cannot just call someone or tag anyone this label and without any concrete evidence. So my point of view there is you have to have concrete evidence. And I trust that the government has solid intelligence, solid information when they come out and tag certain personalities. But the basic concept here is you have to have the evidence, or else this is just purely malicious.
So are you for or against criminalizing red tagging?
If you don't have the evidence, then I think it's wrong to tag individuals. No, as to criminalizing it, I have to study it carefully.
All right. Thank you, Senator Sherwin Win Gatchalian.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.